Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Last week, Don Richard, singer, songwriter, and former member of Danity Kane, as well as Diddy Dirty Money, took the stand in an ongoing federal trial against Sean Diddy Combs, and let's just say what she said sent shockwaves through the courtroom. Don, who was once signed to Diddy's label and personally mentored by him, didn't hold back. Her testimony wasn't just about business. She described a work environment that was intense, unpredictable, and emotionally damaging, especially for women. According to Don, Diddy created an atmosphere of fear, one where speaking up or stepping out of line could destroy your career, or much worse, could end up life-ending. What really stood out is that Don backed up Cassie Ventura's claims. She testified that Cassie wasn't just Diddy's girlfriend. She was someone who seemed trapped in a twisted power dynamic. Don said she saw signs of emotional manipulation and that Cassie was isolated in ways that didn't feel normal for a relationship. Don detailed a 2009 incident which she witnessed while inside of Combs' home, where Combs began screaming and he proceeded to hit Cassie in the head with a skillet and beat her up while she was on the ground in front of not only Don, but also her fellow bandmate, Kalina Harper. Not long after Don took to the stand, Diddy's team filed a notice of motion for an oral argument, suggesting that Don's civil lawsuit, where she alleges abuse, mistreatment, forced labor, sex trafficking, and unfair use of work, be thrown out. So we're going to talk about the Don and Diddy situation, but I also want to talk to you about Clayton Howard, also known as Dave. He is one of the alleged sex workers of Diddy and Cassie. Now, previously, he was subpoenaed to come into court and testify, but he filed paperwork asking the judge to quash or cancel the subpoena. Now, Judge Arun Subramanian required Clayton Howard to provide subpoenaed material to the court for an in-camera review, and that was due by the 16th. Clayton did not turn them in time, and now he and his attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, are claiming that these notes are privileged or protected as part of a possible lawsuit, but Diddy's lawyers are arguing that Howard shared these notes with others, including the prosecution, and may even be planning to publish them. This case is an absolute mess, but we are here to cover it for the remaining of the 7 weeks. We are going to get into this story and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this case and so much more. Now let's get back into it. Cassie, whose real name is Cassie Ventura, took to the stand for the final time in Diddy's federal trial this past Friday. It was intense, emotional, and at times unsettling. On the last day, she was still under cross-examination by Diddy's legal team, who pressed her hard on her past statements and the details of her relationship with Combs. Now, at several points, Cassie appeared visibly overwhelmed, especially when asked about her memory lapses, which the defense tried to use to discredit her timeline. But despite the grilling, Cassie remained firm on some of the most serious allegations: the abuse, the manipulation, the freak-offs, and the disturbing control Diddy allegedly had over her. Now, the prosecution is expected to bring in some heavy hitters to support Cassie's claims. One of those such individuals is Miss Carrie Morgan, who was a friend of Cassie for 17 years. However, the friendship did apparently end after an incident of Diddy hitting Carrie in the head with a wooden hanger. Her injuries were quite serious and left a lasting impact on both her physical health and emotional well-being. Not only is she expected to take to the witness stand, but also one of Diddy's trusted assistants, Mr. David James. Now, one person the defense was not wanting to see on the stand is Miss Don Richard. As soon as the government stated that she would be taking the stand, Diddy's attorney Agnifilo objected to her testimony. However, she still spoke. Now, this past Friday, Don took to the stand and testified that she witnessed Diddy physically assault Cassie in 2009. Now, she recounted an incident at Combs' Los Angeles mansion where he became enraged over breakfast and attacked Ventura with a skillet before punching, kicking, and dragging her up the stairs. Now, following her testimony, Diddy's defense team filed a motion to dismiss Richard's lawsuit, arguing that her claims were unfounded and strategically timed to coincide with the trial. Now, back in September 2024, Don Richard filed a civil lawsuit against Sean P. Diddy Combs, alleging a pattern of sexual assault, abuse, and coercion during her tenure under his management. Now, some of the key allegations in the assault include sexual misconduct, in which Ms. Richard accuses Combs of repeatedly groping her without consent, entering her dressing room while she was undressed, and instructing her to strip to her underwear during meetings. Now, she also has claims of false imprisonment. She alleges that Combs' bodyguard locked her inside a Bentley for over 2 hours following a confrontation during which Combs allegedly swung his fist towards her face. She's also claiming inhumane work conditions. Now, the lawsuit details instances where Richard was deprived of food and sleep, forced to participate in 48-hour rehearsals, and subjected to a hostile work environment. The civil lawsuit goes on to detail Richard's claims of witnessing Diddy assault then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura on multiple occasions, including the incident involving the skillet. She is seeking approximately $3.5 million in unpaid salaries, royalty, and wages for extensive touring. Now, according to Diddy's legal team, Don Richard attempts to recast narratives of alleged harm to others into a sensationalized sex trafficking conspiracy pertaining to herself. However, she does not allege that she's engaged in sexual acts with anyone, nor that she was trafficked or coerced into such acts. Instead, she presents a disturbing, if true, but legally non-actionable account of the challenging environment she faced while striving for fame in the industry 2 decades ago, and her subsequent frustration over perceived undercompensation when she chose to collaborate again with one of the defendants years later. Regardless of the difficulties she may have encountered in her career, there is no legal foundation to hold every music industry professional she interacted with liable for these experiences. The allegations in the first amended complaint failed to establish any legal and cognizable injury specific to the plaintiff. Now, according to Diddy's team, the alleged abuse occurred between 2004 and 2011, but the lawsuit wasn't filed until late 2024. The statutes of limitations for most of her claims range from 1 to 10 years, meaning they've expired long ago. Richard's attempt to revive her claim under a 2022 New York City law is argued to be preemptive by state law and therefore invalid. They go on to say that Richard does not allege she engaged in sex acts, nor that she was forced or trafficked into doing so. Instead, she recounts being overworked, underpaid, or mistreated, which the defense says does not meet the legal standard for sex trafficking or forced labor under federal law. They state and provide multiple agreements over the years releasing these defendants from legal claims. These contracts include broad releases of liability, and the defense says they legally bar many of her claims now. Okay, so this first agreement is a standard recording contract between Don Richard and Bad Boy Records for her work as a music artist. Now, exclusive relationship. Don Richard agreed to work only with Bad Boy Records for recording and releasing music during her contract period. Now, as far as royalties and compensation, this agreement likely includes details about how royalties from her music would be split, though the exact breakdown is not shown in these excerpts. And then the release clause. So she released the label and its agents from all claims up to the date of the agreement. And this is important because it means she legally agreed not to sue for anything that happened before June 29th, 2007, with limited exceptions like unpaid royalties. So pretty much anything that she's suing for that happened during making the band, this agreement is saying that she cannot sue for that. That's what Diddy's team is saying. I'm no legal expert. Then there was an October 22nd, 2021 amendment agreement with Janice Combs Publishing Inc. During this time, she got her rights back. Don was reassigned ownership and administration rights to the song she wrote. The transfer is effective as of July 1st, 2021, but the companies retain any earnings up until June 30th, 2021. She signed a sweeping legal release. Don released Sean Combs, Janice Combs Publishing, Sony Music Publishing, and others from any and all legal claims related to her compositions and the publishing agreement from the beginning of time through the signing date of July 1st, 2021. This includes known and unknown claims, even those that might arise later. Pretty much Diddy's team is stating that she signed an agreement that Diddy would keep all of the funds, all of the royalties from her music before her publishing was released back to her in 2021. So what does this mean for Dawn's lawsuit? If her current lawsuit includes claims that happened before mid-2007, the 2007 recording contract may block those claims. Now, the 2021 publishing agreement could block any publishing related claims claims and even some broader allegations because of the extremely broad release language. By signing a 2021 agreement that gave her rights back, released Combs and agreed not to sue, then filing a lawsuit later, Dawn opens herself up to legal claims that she breached this agreement. This is all according to Diddy's team, not myself. I am not a legal expert. In my opinion, Diddy and his legal team had all of this in their arsenal and was waiting to see if Dawn was going to take the stand in his federal case, and when she did, he contacted his civil legal team and told them, let her rip. Now let's get into Clayton Howard. No Diddy. So Diddy subpoenaed all written material and notes from the sex worker Clayton Howard, who moved to quash the motion. Now the defense team says we want all the goods, and we're currently waiting to see how the judge responds. So Clayton Howard, aka Dave, is a years-long sex worker of both Diddy and Cassie. Now Mr. Clayton allegedly has some notes that he took during his time of being a sex worker of Cassie and Diddy, and one of Diddy's attorneys, Tini Garrigo, submitted a subpoena saying you are commanded to produce all written material and notes you have created concerning your memories of events relevant to the above captioned case, including but not limited to the portions of the written journal you have been maintaining that document those memories. The document should be produced by email to the following email address. Said document shall be produced on or before May 12, 2025, which was the first day of trial. Now, it's being alleged that Clayton's recollection of his rendezvous with Cassie and Diddy don't really fall in line with Cassie's recollection of what she told while on the stand. This is the reason why this journal is important to Diddy's defense team. They want to prove that Diddy was not this big monster. Cassie and Clayton were allegedly cool behind the freak-off, and this will indeed tear apart the prosecution's entire case. So Clayton, through his attorney Tyrone Blackburn, who has been filing lawsuit after lawsuit civilly against Diddy since late last year, submitted a motion to quash or cancel this subpoena. Due by the 16th last Friday, Howard was supposed to provide the subpoenaed material to the court for an in-camera review with Judge Subramanian. However, that did not happen. Now, Blackburn argued that these writings are protected by attorney-client or work product privilege, and basically saying that they are all legal prep and confidential. But Diddy's lawyers are asking the judge to force Howard to comply and hand over the documents. Diddy's team says first, Howard is unable to meet his burden of establishing that the responsive material are protected by any privilege. Tyrone Blackburn, Howard's current counsel and the author of the motion accompanying affidavit, simply lacks the knowledge necessary to make many of the claims he makes in the motion. Those claims are squarely refuted by evidence demonstrating that whatever the origin of the materials, their contents have been shared with prosecution and other third parties, and Mr. Howard apparently is contemplating publication of the materials, and Blackburn also overlooks that Howard has said that he has no plans to pursue or keep the materials confidential. So in short, Diddy's team is saying that this is not real privileged information because you shared it with the prosecutors and you're thinking about publishing them, and you had no plans of any legal action prior to us telling you that we wanted this documentation. And they're stating that his own descriptions of the documents don't match the confidentiality his lawyer now claims. Even if they are privileged, they're stating that that's now waived because he voluntarily gave it to the government. He or his lawyer shared them with third parties, and the legal standards don't block the subpoenas. Howard's lawyer Blackburn cited a famous legal case, Nixon, to argue that the subpoena is too broad or premature, but Diddy's lawyers say that the standards don't apply here because the subpoena is for trial, not before trial, and it's very specific and narrow, just one journal and relevant notes, and it's not unreasonable or oppressive. Diddy's team is now wanting the judge to deny Howard's motion to avoid the subpoena and order him to turn over the requested writings immediately. If the court still has doubt, they can request a sworn statement from Howard himself. Whatever is in these journals, Howard, Blackburn, and the prosecution is not wanting it out. This case is getting messy. We're still missing victim number 3. Cassie is now home getting ready to have her baby, so no more questioning from her. And Clayton Howard is doing his best to hide his secret Cassie and Diddy diaries. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about the latest in the Diddy trial? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching, but before you go, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.